Burning holes in this house, burning holes in this house, burning holes in this house, burning holes in this house. Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to KRSTV. This is your boy Kenny. Now remember, subscribe to my channel and click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow all the information I have in the description box as well as the comment section. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. Now, before I get started with this review, let me send a special shout out to the GMHC crew. If you are in the DMV area and would like to get tested for HIV, reach out to us at the GMHC crew to get yourself a home testing kit. You can have the kit mailed to you, or you can call and make a same-day appointment, and you can come to our location at the GMHC to pick it up. And if you're interested in getting set up for PrEP, which is HIV prevention, reach out to us for that at the GMHC crew for that as well. Also, if you're a fan of KRSTV and would like to become one of my Black Diamonds, check out my Patreon today. Black Diamonds, because in darkness we still shine. You'll get all of my for $3 a month. You'll get all of my YouTube content as well as exclusive videos that will be specifically designed for my Black Diamonds that will not appear on my YouTube channel KRSTV. So check out my Patreon today. And also check out my YouTube partner, BK WorldTube, which is the Black Netflix. You get shows like Love and Hip Hop and shows like this one here that I'm reviewing, The Haves and the Have-Nots. So after you watch this review, click that link in my description box and comment section to check out BK WorldTube today. Now, this is The Haves and the Have-Nots Season 8, Episode 8, and the name of this episode is The Showdown, and it's the mid-season finale. It will be returning in May, and Season 8 is the final season of this show. We had a good run, 8 seasons, so I am waiting to see how everything will end. So I'm gagged. And also, we find out that Queen Sugar is gonna be returning in February, so I'm here for that as well. So let me begin with this. So the episode picks up where it left off. Benny's on his way out the door, and in comes Charles and Landon. Of course, Benny, being the hothead he is, like, you want me to check this? Like, what do you want with her, man? What's good? What y'all doing? Candace told him, Benny, go. Because Benny is on his way to see Rihanna about that house that he's been looking at. So Benny leaves, and then Landon and Charles pretty much proceed, and then Candace starts going in at Landon like, what the hell is going on with you? Why you got this reporter going after my mother? And of course, Landon is really trying to make this thing sell like, look, it was all a part of a co-op operation to get him to see you. And she's like, I'm not talking to him. He's like, but he wants to talk to you. She's like, I don't care. And then Charles lets Candace know that, I was wrong. I'm so sorry. And she was like, yeah, and that ain't good enough. And Candace just walks out. And then you see damn Landon get all defensive, like, who does she think she is? Like, you went all this way for her and she just walked out and everything. And Charles was like, just let her go, And then we see that Charles and Landon have a conversation. And it's so obvious, bitch, that Landon still wants Charles. Like, boo-boo, you in your back of your head, you are hoping that you're finally going to have your moment with Charles, even though that's never going to happen. But we know that the reason why you're doing this is because you're in love with him. You ain't fooling us, bitch. Anyway, Charles was like, this is proof that she still cares, because the fact that she's angry shows that there's still something there. There's still passion. So Landon's like, so what do we do now? And he's like, well, this is what we do. we get back to DC. We get back to Detroit and prepare for DC. So that's what went on in that situation. Then we see that Don comes over to meet up with Veronica at her house. Veronica lets him know that she's pissed, and she says that, she talks about the loan, the $54 million loan. And she pretty much tells the truth that her facilities are not doing well. So I'm like, bitch, you literally gave a song and dance to Catherine with your smug ass, but really your facilities are not bringing in bringing in that dough. And then pretty much she tells Don, convince Catherine to pay it off. And then like we come to find out that that damn Veronica been playing in Catherine's money for years through Don. Like, them damn accountants are some shrewd little bitches. They are so conniving. It's crazy. And Jim as well been, using them to swindle money out of Catherine's funds. It's crazy. And she's like, dude, we've been playing with her money for years. Make this happen. And Don is letting her know this is a new day. It's a new life. It's a different situation. I can't do that anymore. And she's like, you know what I have on you, Don. And then he was like, but you don't understand. She's no longer in charge of it, so there's nothing I can do. And she's like, and then Veronica's like, so who she put in charge in? Jim's ass? And he's like, no, Hannah Young. Boy, I was so here for this shit, cause that damn Veronica's face was cracked. She was like, what the hell? The maid? I'm like, see, y'all are so damn rude and condescending that y'all don't understand that Hannah has intelligence, which is why Catherine made her the head of her estate. Because she knows she can trust her, and she knows that Hannah is smart. And pretty much Don let it be known. She's asking all the right questions, and then she's like, Catherine done lost her damn mind. But he lets her know that, hey, if you really want that situation as far as that loan, you're gonna have to go through her. And then so she asks about, do you know where the original agreement is? And he's like, I don't know where Catherine would keep that. And then Veronica was like, well, she probably keeps it at our house because that's where she keeps a lot of her stuff. I'll just go over there and check that out. So all of a sudden she's like, what kind of psychotic bitch would put the maid as the executor of her estate? A woman who's intelligent, boo-boo. Something that you clearly don't understand because you're so conniving and so evil. You don't realize that Hannah does have hidden intelligence. And she knows that Hannah has a good soul about her, which is why she made her executor. And I'm loving Hannah in this role because I'm finally seeing Hannah as no longer a step and fetch it as she's been for the most of these seasons. We're finally seeing Hannah as a boss, and I'm loving it. Then we see that, Benny goes to see the realtor, Rihanna. You can definitely tell they got some chemistry. There's definitely flirting going on both sides. He pretty much went to go see the location, and he doesn't know whether he wants that house or not. So, then, they go back and forth, and he notices a picture on her desk, and he asks who this is, and she says it's her mother, and that her mother passed away 3 years ago. Her mother had died in a car accident after the two of them got in an argument about her ex, Sandy's bitch ass. And then she said that she was telling me that he was all wrong for me, and man, was she right. She was so right, and I feel much regret because I never got a chance to make it right before she died. We had an argument, and she left and she had the accident, and that was it. And I'm like, yeah, that's why it's important that you make things right with people, because you never know when you're going to lose someone. Believe me, I know that for personally. And here it is, he was like, so was that the reason why you was crying? And she's like, allergies. Remember, I said allergies? I'm like, girl, I don't know. Benny may be your knight in shining armor. I mean, we know Benny will beat the brakes off of Sandy because Sandy ain't got that Sandy ain't got no weight for real. All he got is his last name, and that's it. Sandy is straight up bitch made. But we see that go on with them. Then we go to see Jeffrey and Madison. Madison just got in, and Jeffrey's like, "I miss you, and I want to take you out to dinner to get to know you." And Madison was getting on my nerves. He's like, "Why? Why you want to do this now?" I'm like, "Boo boo, you know you want him to. Stop it." I be hating when queens be playing them damn games. Like, just get your ass in the shower and get ready. And then he asked about, so where's Kobe? What did that bitch say? I know that bitch said something about me. And I'm like, where did he go? I'm like, well, he got a call and he had to leave. And, and like, Jeffrey was like, is he like on some dating app or something? And then Madison is like, I'm not privy to say. And then Jeffrey was like, he's an escort, isn't he? He's like, I'm not privy to say. And he's like, what are you judging? He's like, no judgment here. Yeah, but the thing about it, Kobe has actually been set up because that call was to lure him in a trap. We're going to see how Kobe's going to prevail from it, and we'll probably find that out once the show comes back in May. So we saw that go on. Then after Benny goes, leaves talking to Rihanna, he gets in his car and he calls Hannah and he says, "Mom, I love you and I miss you." And he's like, I'm just not used to not talking to you every day. And she's like, well, to tell you the truth, Benny, I'm beginning to get used to not talking to you every day. And she says, why would you say that? She's like, that man is coming for you. And he's like, but Mom, you and like he begins to go into that whole shit like, well, I had to do what I had to do and all the shit. And then she asks, how much do you love me? He's like, Mom, I love you. She's like, do you love me more than $1 million? And she tells him again, you need to give that money back, and then he pretty much said that, look, he's like, but Mom, why you coming at me like this? She's like, because you're a thief, you're like, here it is, you still following behind your sister. But then he finally tells the truth that, no, I'm the one that talked her into doing it, which he did. And Candace is that I mean, in all honesty, I get why she did it, but in all honesty, that was a bad move because, Benny's a damn hothead, and Benny is just a cautionary tale. He just creates problems upon problems, and we've known that from Benny since we met him. And he's like, well, why you always say it's Candace? She's like, because your sister is slick. Your sister is slick and she's conniving. And he's like, what you trying to say, Mom, that I'm stupid? And she's like, well, you do have slow tendencies. And this bitch had the nerve to get in his feelings. I'm like, dude, you are dumb. I've said this many times before. You were that kid who had a football helmet, wearing a diaper with, some Captain Crunch with a C and say, like, dude, you were that boy that was on the short yellow bus. Let's not act like you're intelligent, because you never have been, Benny. You've made dumb decisions left after right, even when you decided to borrow from the mob. You dumb bitch. I can't. And then he's like saying that, and then he's like, you're gonna regret talking to me about this. You're gonna regret talking to me like this. And she's like, no, I regret talking about this because clearly you're not listening. And then she gets off the phone with Benny, and here comes Jim. So Jim has overheard the conversation, so now he knows Hannah had nothing to do with her kids stealing his money. And then he pretty much says that, look, I can't let this go. That's $8 million. Of course you can't let it go, Jim, with your broke, sorry ass. You ain't got shit. That's why you can't let the $8 million go. You ain't got the pool of millions that Catherine has. You no longer have access to that. So that $8 million is all you have. And he pretty much in this scene kind of made it like, I'm gonna go after your kids because I ain't gonna take this shit lying down. And then he also mentions that I know that your daughter did a favor for the Malones. And once things get straightened out in regarding to Mitch, when Mitch said that he was going to protect you guys, that protection is going to waver, and we're going to see who's going to come out of this shit. So low-key being threatening and everything. But then he says that, I realized that Catherine and David, they were right about you. And that David really does like you. I'm like, yes, he does. And he says that, yeah, he's a good person, even though, despite the friends he has, David is a good person. But they were right about you, that you are a good person. But it's like, how do you maintain being a good person when you're surrounded by shitty people? It's all about your state of mind, boo-boo. Clearly something that you wouldn't understand, Jim, because you're a sociopath. And you're a complete selfish son of a bitch. And then he starts going into like, so what, you're not gonna pray for my soul or anything like that? She's like, no. And he's like, so you really think God will forgive me? And she's like, yeah, he will, but I'm like, yeah, if you want that. So like, he's like, but I've done a lot of bad things. I've hurt a lot of people. I've done a lot of people wrong. God is just not just gonna forgive me. I don't think God is fair in regards to that. And then he starts talking about some praise Jesus. I'm like, you gonna keep playing around, Jim? Your ass gonna be 6 feet under, and clearly I think that's gonna happen to your ass. I'm just waiting for it to go down. But then he says that, it's about time that the angel and the devil have a square off. And she's like, are you talking about my daughter? He's like, no, I'm talking about you. So he's still saying that he wants to have a showdown between Hannah. And I'm like, Hannah's like, this ain't what you want, baby. This ain't what you want. I'm like, Jim ain't gonna be happy till Jim is completely fucked up. You're gonna have to kill that son of a bitch, because Jim is so far gone in his ego and so far gone in his way of thinking. There's no coming back from that shit. You just gonna have to annihilate that bitch. So then we see Mitch and Sandy have a conversation. Sandy is being iffy about it because he says that, he tells Mitch, what did you do? Uncle Vinny has been, is looking for you. And I'm like, if you did something, you need to tell me everything. Is it involving you and that black kid? I'm like, here you go, talking about him and the black kid, but you like black women, Sandy. Like, that's the shit about races that I don't understand. Like, you hate us so badly, but you want to bet us, and you literally are sprung because Rihanna probably got that good yeah, and now you're stalking the hell out of her because you can't let her go. This fool was even watching a video of them having sex, and Mitch called it out like, dude, what the hell is wrong? What, like, you watching porn? And is that Rihanna? Like, you literally have a sex tape of her without her permission? And he's like, look, she will always be my girl. And he's like, dude, she's not your girl. What the hell are you doing? I'm like, see, there go that bullshit. Because you want them, like, you up here trying to check Mitch. But dude, you using the Malone name to punk women. But you can't step to a man with all that aggression with your weak ass. And he's like, she will always be my girl. I'm like, yeah, but little do you know, Benny is putting a smile on her face. And if anything, he going to be putting a smile on her face for more reasons than one. Because we know how Benny is with that hot dick. He going to have her on the walls crawling like Spider-Man in about a few more episodes. So we just got to keep watching. So after that, Mitch calls Benny, and he's pretty much saying that, has my uncle reached out to you? And he's like, nah. He's like, Sandy's acting weird. I'm like, and then like, Benny's like, did you do something? He's like, well, yeah, I covered for you. Because remember, on the last episode, Benny is going to have the serial numbers on those bills traced to see if they came from the same place. Because he did get $75,000. He gave him 50 for Jim and gave them 25 for Benny. But that 25,000 came from the same stack. So when that gets revealed, it's going to be some shit. So now Mitch is kind of like on shaky territory because he's like, oh, damn, this shit is about to get crazy. But he's like, I need to pay somebody a visit. Yeah, your boy Cryer. For an insurance policy. I'm like, but it's Cryer and David who's stirring up the shit. And now that they done got Vinny's attention, and since Vinny is a hothead who's still trying to flex his muscle because he's now the head of the operation. He ain't gonna let that shit go. So it's gonna be some serious shit with that. And then, like, we see that Benny and Candace have a conversation, and Benny pretty much says that, yo, old boy's in love with you. You know what I'm saying? You know, because she was saying that, you know, the way that I was treated is like I'm his dirty little secret. He's like, nah, bruh, that dude in love, because that dude snuck all the way out from where he was to come see you. Like, nah, that dude's in love with you. And the thing about it, you guys have a lot in common. He's just like you. He's a hunter. He's not going to let you go. And the thing about it, Candace, you like power. She's like, yeah, but I don't want to be in the White House. It's like, yeah, but you can have power in the White House and still have this money. So if things don't work out, you can just walk away with yours. Like, shoot, you know, make it a serious power play. And I'm like, okay, when it comes down to that street shit, Benny does make sense. But outside of everything else, Benny is dumb as a doorknob. He's still playing with the sea and say, like, Rooster. I'm just forgive me. Like, you know, Coyote. Like, seriously. Oh man. So we saw that go down, and I'm like, Benny actually did make some sense in that scene. Like, yeah, like, you should go for this. Like, you know, this is a power play. You'll be in the White House, you'll be untouchable, and you'll still have money on the back end. I'm like, yeah, but, you know, that devil Jim Cryer ain't gonna take that shit lying down. So, Benny, you may be too little confident a little too soon. So then we get a scene with Veronica and Tanner, and this damn scene was gag worthy. You know, he pretty much says that, you know, he comes and lets her know, like, you were right about my brother and those guys in the car. And he was like, yeah, and I apologize, you know. And she was like, about what? She's like, about your son. And she's like, I don't have a son. And she's like, Jeffrey? She's like, yeah, the same little bitch that let your brother hit me. That's why he ended up the way he did. And he's like, you did that? She's like, well, not technically me. I got somebody to do that. I'm not wasting my nails on a little bitch like your brother. And she's like, well, he's been through a lot. She's like, yeah, I know, and I don't care. Like, whatever. So she's like, did you get the intel on, you know, Kobe Jones Willis? Like, she's still doing that shit. He's like, oh yeah, it's done. I got that taken care of. He'll be here tomorrow. I'm like, we're gonna see how that's gonna go down, because we know Kobe is military trained. So we're gonna see if he gonna pull a wild card on these boys. But we just gotta keep watching. And then she was like, so you're former military, Tanner? He's like, yeah, I am. She's like, so do you know about explosives? Because, you know, I lost a guy. Remember the guy that blew up Erica in that car? You know, burnt her to like a burnt crisp, well done. Like, burnt her all the way up. Well, we remember his ass got, you know, taken down for another crime. And Veronica's supposed to have been helping him, but Veronica's letting his ass rot, you know. And she's like, well, what if I say if I wanted somebody blown up, could you do that for me? And he was like, yeah, I could do that. And she was like, yeah, because I want to start a new life with no ex-husband and no son. I'm like, you evil whore. So you're still trying to lead this mission to kill your husband and kill David and Jeffrey. And I'm like, this bitch is psycho. And then she's like, we gonna be a very good team. I'm like, I don't know, boo-boo. Like, Tanner's kind of iffy too, so we just got to keep watching in regards to that. But they both are evil. They both are homophobic. And I wouldn't be surprised if the two of them end up in bed together, because, you know, Veronica always is giving out her cookies and cream to every man that comes her way. Damn succubus. So then we get the scene that was the gag of it all. Jeffrey and Madison are out on, out to dinner on their little date. They talking, going back and forth, and Madison is still being real catty, which is really starting to get on my nerves. I'm like, Tyler, not all gay men are like that, but anyway. But this is how Madison is, and he was getting on my nerves because they was just going back and forth with that conversation to the point it really drove me up the wall. I'm like, bruh, the boy like you done already done did the damn deed, and clearly, Jeffrey loved it because we saw Jeffrey doing splits and handstands in the bed. We ain't see him do that shit with Justin, aka Glenn Close. And hold on, I'm about to get to that bitch in a minute because this bitch literally showed her ass. So they going back and forth, and they talk about David and how David was uneasy after seeing them having sex. I'm like, which would be the same if Jeffrey was straight. No parent wants to see their kid getting it in or seeing somebody digging in their kid. Just saying. So, and then pretty much, Madison's like, it's funny to me. She's like, yeah, but he didn't find it funny. But he's pretty much cool. Like, he'll come around. And then he asks Madison about his parents. And Madison's parents, based on what he said, that, they were Republicans, he loves them, but they drive him crazy. So there's still some level of homophobia, with his parents, even though he does interact with his parents, but his parents had their conservative beliefs. And then, next thing you know, damn Justin, aka Glenn Close, shows up and has a gun and starts interrogating both of them. And he's like, look, I'm not going to hurt you, Jeffrey, but I might hurt him. So pretty much they were like, he's pretty much, just in this. He starts, interrogating them, something. So, I lost everything because of you. Talking to Madison. I'm like, see, this is the problem that I hate about Glenn Close. Glenn Close don't ever want to own her shit. She is a despicable individual because, bitch, you put yourself in this situation and all you do is play the victim and blame everybody else for your shit, when yet you were the one who chose to be molesting black men in the backseat of your car, violating your code as an officer. You the one who decided to stalk Jeffrey and all this shit, and then started doing all this criminal crap, turning, burning his phone and doing all this shit. Bitch, you're the reason why you're in this shit. That's why I can't stand her ass. That's why I don't feel sorry for all the bad shit that's happened to her. Because the bitch don't own her shit. And, they pretty much saying, like, you need help. And all this, like, oh, and that's what I've been trying to tell you all this time, Jeffrey. I needed you. Like, no, bitch. Jeffrey can't help you. Because if anything, Jeffrey does nothing but fuel the flame. And you need professional help. And he was like, I can help you. And then he was like, Madison was telling him, I could help you. He's like, well, I was trying to get you to help me in the hospital, but you chose not to. Like, no, boo-boo. You was trying to sex up Madison, but Madison don't want your ping. He want the black ping, which is why he's with Jeffrey. Ping! So then all of a sudden, Jeffrey keeps trying to interject, and he's like, shut up, Jeffrey. You. And I'm like, this damn Glenn Close done hit the fucking rails. And then she was like, have you guys had sex? And he was like, no, we haven't had sex. He's like, you're lying. I saw you. I saw you with my binoculars looking through your window. I saw the two of you. You were having sex. And he's like, well, fine, yeah, we had sex. I just don't want to upset you. Like, no. What's upsetting me is that you're lying to me, because I know you did it. You two don't give a damn about me. I'm like, the problem is that you don't give a damn about yourself, Glenn Close. And, you keep trying to, boil rabbits and put them in everybody's fucking pot, but ain't nobody here for your shit. And then he's like, do you guys smell something? And he's like, it smells like gasoline. And he's like, well, it's damn well not cologne. And then the next thing you know, this motherfucker stands up and poof, Glenn Close is up in flames, which is why there was some burning hose up in that house, because that bitch literally burnt herself. And Tyler, either kill her I hope you do end this, because I'm to the point where there's no more for Justin. Justin is just completely damaged. So if you kill Justin, that's going to add more fuel for Tanner to really, go after Jeffrey, because he's going to blame Jeffrey for the shit, when really the reason why he's so fucked up is because of Tanner. Tanner is at fault for that shit. But I was like, damn, Glenn Close went from boiling rabbits to burning herself alive. And I'm like, child, this shit was crazy. But it will be back in May, y'all. I thank you guys for the love and support. Get down in those comments if I missed anything. I will be back in May to review this show. I'm really excited that this mid-season finale was actually pretty good. So that's what I got, y'all. So until next time, everybody, take care.